What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the different ways I learned to improve strategies and predict volume from Steven Dux. I'm sure this video will help you step your game up in your trading. Stay tuned. So what I want to go over first is volume prediction. Now, what he explains to me is volume prediction is very important. And the reason it's important is because you want to make sure that the float is not going to be rotated, because if it's rotated, that means it's overcrowded, and that means it can do some crazy moves up and down. It can whipsaw you. So keep that in mind and why that's important to understand volume. Now, how to predict volume, he does it two ways. One of his ways is pre-market. If whatever the volume is pre-market, he multiplies that by 10, and that gives him the average prediction for the volume throughout the day. Whatever that volume is, it can kind of give you an idea by doing your own research, like on Yahoo Finance, what the float is, if it's going to rotate its float. If, let's say, there's no volume pre-market, at the open, if there is volume after the first hour, you multiply that by 4 and it gets you the day's volume. So this is something that helped me out a ton, especially when you're shorting into maybe a resistance play and you're using a previous day's volume. You don't want it to be overwhelming volume compared to that volume that you're using as a resistance, because then there's a higher chance it's not going to work. So this is how it's helped me. I know it can help you too. Let's go over the next topic. If it's one thing I've learned by watching Steven Dux, he is a master at making sure he places the highest odds probability trades. It's pretty amazing. And how he does that is, man, he uses Excel like a madman. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of how I use Excel that's really been helping me and helped me discover new strategies and improve my current ones. And so let's get to that here. I'm going to share my computer screen with you. Okay, so how to improve your strategy. Something that I've learned from Dux, just from listening to him on Instagram and on YouTube and his DVDs, is he is the king of analytics and making sure he tracks all types of setups to find out the highest odds. This right here is a sample of what I like to track. I was just doing an example of tracking first screen days to see if I can find an edge. You can see what my categories I was tracking. I mean, there's actually a ton, goes all the way. But what I want to show you is it's very simple, and then I'm going to show you how you implement it. What you want to do is you want to track all the tickers, right? Then you want to put the date that it spiked. In this case, I was tracking everything that was up 15% or more, that closed strong. And I track the previous close, volume, open, close, high a day, low a day, float, market cap, and then you can put in whatever you like that you feel like is important. Catalyst, you can track catalysts. And then at the end of the day, you want to get a very good sample size. This one is about, I think, 50, a little over 50, right? So that being said, once you get that sample size, then you can start looking at the data and analyzing and creating formulas, which I was playing around with the other day. You can see here. Here's a sample. Started playing with formulas right here. How many above 50%? And then you can actually do filters to figure out what is the highest odds. Now, I'm not going to make this video super long, go over all of the formulas. And trust me, I suck at these formulas. It's taking me forever to learn them. I'm still learning them. But it's been helping me a ton. But one thing that's so important that I really want to go over is you want to be able to track the data, but then you want to have actual charts of the graph. Now, that being said, let me show you an example. First green day, here we go. And then I have all the first green days, so that way I can see visually what it looked like too. And then I can come up with a plan, because for me, when I can see it, see the data, and then see the chart, it helps me be more confident, and it helps me determine a better plan, and it helps me see how it plays out, because then I'm able to really dive into it whenever the trade actually presents itself. I can really dive in all in and know with a better percentage chance of how it should play out and how it shouldn't, so that way I can cut it at certain areas. I would do this with tons of charts to make sure I can find something to where, is there an edge? And if there is, great. If there's not, then I get rid of it. And at the end of the day, you could track tons of data and end up having nothing, but at least you find out there was no niche there for you, but still keep it, because you'll never know how things can change. Remember, key takeaways: how to predict volume, multiply by 10 pre-market, first hour of the day, multiply by 4. Number 2, use Excel and take pictures of all the graphs so you can use that data to improve on your strategies. Stay tuned for next week for my next video where I'll be reviewing another strategy, or perhaps, depending on what you like to see, comment below and I'll see if I can produce that. Anyway, stay tuned. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you'll be notified. And thanks again, guys. And as always, be the trader that you want to be and make sure that you're that story that everyone can talk about. Be the story.